The domestic economy continuing to be hammered by the COVID-19 pandemic and the fallout from the significant slowdown in tourism. Central Bank Governor John Rowell provided more details on how the national economy is performing during a quarterly update this week. Vern Curry tells us more.
Central bank officials say the double whammy of Hurricane Dorian and the economic fallout due to the COVID-19 pandemic have resulted in the national economy contracting sharply during the first 6 months of the year. However, Central Bank Governor John Rowell says there is still some good news.
Less proportionately, by 22% during the second quarter and by about 7% for the year to date. This differential meant that over the last 3 months of the quarter, the central bank switched to being a net supplier of foreign exchange to the banking system, channeling inflows from the government's debt operations. Ordinarily, the central bank would not supply net foreign exchange to the system until the second half of the year. Nevertheless, with ongoing replenishment, the foreign reserve balances remain relatively stable, fluctuating near the $2 billion level from March through the end of July.
In the midst of mounting job losses, Rowell says banks have maintained a conservative lending posture, and he cited the economic impact of banking institutions deferring loans during this difficult time.
The advice to households is for them to remain disciplined in their finances and to concentrate most on meeting their essential needs. Borrowers should maintain close contact with their financial institutions and be open to them about any hardships that they may be experiencing. Those who can should resume payments on any blanket accommodations that they may have received.
With no timeline in sight for the end of the COVID-19 pandemic comes this advice for residents.
Now, the external reserves still remain adequate to support the value of the Bahamian dollar fixed exchange rate, even with a sizable reduction still expected over the remainder of 2020. This continues to underscore the importance for the government to preserve its access to international capital markets to help finance the deficit as it moves to stabilize the economy, and for the government to adopt prudent reforms that would raise market confidence. It also highlights the value of the direct conservation measures adopted by the central bank in April to protect the foreign reserves.
Meanwhile, Rowell says the country's external reserves remain adequate to support the value of the Bahamian dollar exchange rate. Vern Curry, ZNS Network News.